mean, decor looks nice, don't get me wrong, but... Okay, so... Alright. So, I have a really, really big issue here. And this issue is... What's the best way to say it? What is the best way to voice the issue that I have here? So... It's so the entire it's a bait and switch. They pulled a bait and switch on us here, and I can understand why, to a degree, why they did a bait and switch, but at the same time, it could have been far better handled. In that. Well, first off, it could have been far better handled in that... Okay, if you wanted to start the Serpent's Crusade, and I sort of get what they were going for here, if you chose, like, the Varun start. So, in other words, if you chose to start your character as a Varun character, then obviously you would pick the Serpent's Crusade. If you were, you know, devout all the way through. But here's the issue. You basically just said that Varun Kai... we've seen time in and time out, Varun Kai, which used to be stable, is now under constant assault from the Zealots, okay? So Varun Kai is under assault from the Zealots. They don't have... they're barely holding on. Most of their military strength was wiped out during the attack. And if I open up the map right now, it looks like most of Dasra was annihilated, and the city extended at least to here. So more than half of Dasra has been annihilated by this. Now, if you still had the Phantoms, then yes, obviously you could start the Serpent's Crusade. But even then, once again, he's like 100, 1,000. Well, where are you going to get those people from? Most of these people are, like, if you're going to convert, like most of the people you have left are currently ravaged refugees. And yes, you could turn them into Phantoms, true. But you would basically be throwing all of your people onto this pyre to start the Serpent's Crusade. Can they come back once they've been infused with Vortex energy? Can they? We don't know. All we know is that they seem to be bound to the machine forever. So, as we saw back at the dam. Now, who knows how many are left? Like, in fact, the only people who are left are House Malik, who are just happen to be the Zealots. I'll be honest, like, if I was asked to rate this on a scale between 1 and 5, I'd rate this a 3.5. It's not half bad. Like, it's a reasonably good DLC, and there's still a lot of... Well, okay, so no, I'd rate it a 3. 3. I would rate it, well, 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10. It's not bad. It's not a bad DLC. There's a lot of places where, and once again, I will say it, the motto of Bethesda, or the standby of Bethesda, seems to be good idea implemented poorly. Am I happy with the expansion to the Varun? Yes, I am, but I feel like they fell short in portraying the religious dogma or the dogmatic adherence to their religion that Andreja, I don't know why I was thinking Argenta, but Andreja uh, hinted at during her personal quest. Um, they they I saw a hell of a lot more of just backdoor dealings and politics than one would expect for a fanatic theocracy, because this should be a theocracy. The cult of the great serpent should be. Yeah, I felt like they did not really demonstrate very well what a good absolute theocracy would portray. But once again, I really do feel that the just hey. Now that being said, the whole idea of, well, it was prophesized that you would, in an absolute theocracy, yeah, that would work. It's or in a theocracy that would work. Say, hey, the high priestess who is basically, or the herald, sorry, the herald, high priestess, however you want to say it, basically saying, yeah, I've received a sign from the god. Let's the gods, this person's, that would work. And it works really well for the hand waving away, because not Argenta, Andreja basically says you'd be killed the moment you arrive in Dazra. But she also says that secrecy is paramount. And, well, the Varun people don't have secrecy anymore. Spacers have found their way here. The Crimson Fleet have found their way here. The Zealots always knew who were here, but we found our way here. Everybody on my ship, like technically, and both Andreja and not even Andreja and myself should be allowed to leave Dasra. We should be trapped here permanently. We now know how to get back to Dasra. Just by having my own ship, I have mapped out the location of Dasra. The Salamander, my ship, should be permanently impounded and added to the Varun fleet. Sarah, Cora, Sam, Barrett, everybody should now be permanently jailed here on Varun Kai. We should not be allowed to leave. Because really nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We haven't demonstrated that outsiders can be trusted. We haven't showed... yes, we've resolved the main quest, but we have not resolved the fact that after a massive disaster like this, Varun Kai, the House of Varun should become even more insular. They are very vulnerable right now. They are under attack by Spacers. They are under attack by the Crimson Fleet. Like, honestly, there should be no way I or my crew should be allowed to leave. Anyway, you guys don't need to, and there's a whole host of other things. Don't even get me started on, oh yeah, I walk up to the ship vendor. It's like, oh yeah, no, we just have access to all of these modules from the rest of the settled systems. What, you have like with your main city devastated, do you just happen to have a shitload of spare parts lying around here? Spare modules? What about the Varun shipwrights? Do you have your own stuff? They didn't. And the other thing too is they just released the vehicle update. You would think one of the things they would put in a paid DLC would be a Varun themed vehicle. And the weapons, I had to make my way through, and I get to the weapons vendor, not a single piece of Varun themed armor, not a single piece of Varun themed clothing, and barely any Varun themed weapons. They were loaded with they were loaded with Freestar Collective weapons and United Cities weapons, but barely any Varun styled weapons. It's very, very, very obvious that well, to be frank, that they spent more time creating the environments than they did actually thinking through the whole story of the DLC. Still a serviceable story, and it was very interesting to play it, but there's not a lot of thought been put into there has not been a lot of thought put into what Andreja said before the DLC, and the reality of things after the DLC. In fact, in many ways, I would have preferred if we had never come to Varun Kai, because coming to Varun Kai introduces a whole host of problems. So, and they didn't even address the fact that I'm an outsider. You have a home here now. Okay. It's like, you have a home here now, and this is where you will stay. What do you mean? Well, do you think we're going to let you go? No, you're an outsider. You know... Anyway. Is this DLC worth the price? No. Not at full price. It doesn't add anything. Like, it doesn't add enough to be worth the price that I paid for it. If you catch it on sale, definitely pick it up. But aside from adding a single star system, and realistically a single inhabited planet, and a city that I think is smaller than Aquila, maybe it's the same size as Aquila, this really doesn't add much aside from expanding the Varun weaponry. So, yeah. Oh, and adding a little bit extra on top of the laser-based weaponry. But other than that, no. No, it's not worth the full price. But it's been 5 hours, and I'd say now is a good time to call an end to things.